Hello everyone, my name is Akal and I am a somatic therapist. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about the work I do, you can check out my website, which I have posted down below the video. Also down below the video you have a link to vaultoftheheavens.com, which is where you can go to get your birth chart. What you want to look for specifically are the sun, the moon, and the ascendant in terms of the specific nakshatras associated with those placements. However, all the planets have a nakshatra. And in this particular case, like for instance, Shatabhishak, which is what we're going to talk about today, my Venus and my Mercury are in those placements. And actually a lot of the generalizations that go along with this nakshatra I can personally relate to. So Shatabhishak is a really uncomfortable nakshatra. I mean, just reading this, I was like, oh, ow, ooh, ouch. It's not because these, they're bad people or anything like that. In fact, these folks are extremely service-oriented, very high-minded. However, their path is one of self-sacrifice. It's one of the movement towards austerity. And I'm going to get into that once I get into the padas or the divisions within this placement. First thing, though, is I want to kind of take a look at the gunas, as well as talk about the path, the particular path. So the path for this is dharmic. Dharma essentially means principled action. The idea with a dharmic path, and what you see with all the nakshatras that have dharma as a path, is, again, you see this like mission-oriented kind of disposition, this mission-oriented energy. And in order for this mission to be fulfilled in life, something has to happen in order to pull them away from a material focus. Usually trials and purification are the two words we want to look at. So trials and purification are exemplified in Shatabhishak. And that's going to be seen through the planets that dominate this nakshatra, which are the rulership, so tamasic energy or negative mind, and the outpouring of energy, which is done sattvically or done through a path towards clarity, is the energy of Rahu. So Rahu is I don't want to go into too much detail on this, but when you think of Rahu, think of a head without a body. Think about mental intensity and obsession. So what you're looking at here is an obsessive focus. And that obsessive focus is a bit detached. However, the story with Rahu is that Rahu and Ketu are both kind of karmic planets. Ketu is the body without a head. Ketu, its movement is automatic, meaning it's kind of like bringing in past life energies, past life, tendencies or attributes, and it's simply playing out. Now, Rahu, though, is here to rectify that path. So it's basically karmic rectification. So in order for that path to be rectified, it requires purity. Now, why do I say purity? Because if you get caught up in sort of all sorts of personal, indulgences, sensory indulgences, things like that, you end up becoming further anchored into the material plane. And again, pretty much all the nakshatras, if not all of them, are in some ways talking about a spiritualization process that simply is moving through different modes of being. With Shatabhishak, this energy is in a lot of ways exemplified once again by this tamasic energy here. So they say this kind of passive, so this is kind of a passive energy from the beginning, meaning early on, minus what it needs in order to get moving, which is inspiration. Minus inspiration, this energy, and I'll tell you some of the terms they use. So tamasic energy, when you see tamas, what you're talking about is inertia. So the characteristics of inertia are the negative mind, which is protective. So it can throw up walls and blocks And if you throw up too many walls and blocks, you limit your ability to be expansive, you limit your ability to be creative. So something else is sloth, lethargy, and psychological stagnation. So psychological stagnation, sloth, lethargy. All this is contained within the negative mind. So again, these folks are functioning through that as a primary way of achieving this sattvic base, which is the movement towards universalization, unification with all that is, mystical happenings, etc., etc. So as they're moving towards this path towards clarity, they need something in order to get over that tamasic energy, in order to sort of transcend that material external focus. And how that's done is through inspired action. So these folks are sometimes kind of waiting around for some sort of inspired action. Now, once they reach this, have this inspired download, what ends up happening is that they have a lot of vitality, they have a lot of energy. Now this energy and this vitality, so this is the slippery slope with this particular placement. The energy and the vitality here, it can be done, well, it's here to accomplish that mission, that goal. Whatever this inspiration is moving them towards. Usually, again, we're talking about service-oriented. This is the sign under Aquarius, so we're talking about, the idea of this water pourer. So they're pouring out of knowledge in order to sort of, I guess, fertilize humanity for spiritual growth. So this energy can be expressed in the word I keep reading over and over again is ruthlessly. Why ruthlessly? Because we got to look at the energies involved in this placement. We're talking about Rahu, which is detachment. So there's a certain degree of detachment here. There's also, let's see, what's the other word they keep using? So we're talking about, so it's basically, like I said, it can be kind of unemotional. So this detachment, this lack of emotional connection, et cetera, can basically get these people so that they're essentially the bull in the china shop in some ways. So what they're doing here, though, is that they can create a lot of chaos along the way. And again, unless their actions are guided by some higher attribute, some higher instinct. So the god that rules this is Varuna. So Varuna is the god, and I'm going to go ahead and read something about this. So it says, he holds together mankind in the earth. He dwells over all the world and its sovereign ruler. He is the God who made the golden sun to shine in the heaven, the wind which resounds through the atmosphere in his breath, his witness truth and falsehood. He instructs the Rishi Vasishta, can't pronounce it right now, in mysteries no ordinary man can comprehend. So we're talking about a very an energy that's moving towards cohesion. So these folks are exemplified by this energy that's moving towards a cohesion, moving towards a unity. And it's a unity that's not about the individual, though. This is not about these people. And now this energy, again, it's very service-oriented. It's not about these people. So meaning that their mission, although they may accomplish it, it's kind of an impersonal joy they get out of it. I mean, this is sort of a joyless sign. It's just very driven to get something done. This is at the heart of Aquarius. This is all about that sort of, cultivating wisdom. So this joylessness, again, without the proper inspiration, without the proper mission, without them realizing their mission, it can lead to a lot of heaviness. Again, we're talking about tamasic energy. So we're talking about loneliness, depression. So these are the tendencies of this particular sign if it's not well expressed. So what ends up happening, though, is if that mission is correct, the symbol that's associated with this is a flower. And specifically, there's this notion of a 1,000-petal flower, which was talking about the crown chakra. So the crown chakra is, once Kundalini energy, this base latent energy, starts to rise up, and how it rises up, it has to do with the purification of the personality. So as we purify the personality, I guess the term that I saw in Bepin Bahari's book is that spirit begins to swell. You have to make room for spirit to swell within your being, which means austerities. It means purification once again. So we got Rahu and we got Saturn. So Saturn brings about trials. So let's go ahead and look at the padas real quickly. So we have the padas, and again, those are the divisions, the 4 divisions within each nakshatra. First pada is ruled by Jupiter. So now what this indicates is that there's a religiosity from beginning. However, this is kind of a self-centered religiosity from, early on. So even though there's an interest in spiritual matters on religion, it's kind of selfish. It's sort of, people are still caught up in their sort of sensory awareness of, what they desire and what they want and things like that. So in order to create some separation from what I consider external religion versus spirituality that is very much one's internal authentic expression, it has to move through the second and the third padas, which are Saturnian. So Saturn brings about pain, fear, and suffering. Trials. So when we're talking about trials, we're talking about situations which limit your prosperity in some ways. They can lead to rigidity. Saturn is here to restrict and limit, I guess, your enjoyment in a lot of ways. And once those, like I said, once that energy has become restricted, once material things are taken away from you, once you feel absolutely, utterly joyless, you hit a rock bottom. And rock bottom, I don't know, this is kind of like, I kind of think like if they were to rename this, they would find some sort of Vedic term for rock bottom, and that would be Shatabhishak. But, again, this is like a very strong energy. So these folks, once they have that mission, and they can get past and out of that rock bottom, which Saturn is ultimately creating for them, what ends up happening is massive, intense expansiveness. So when we talk about this detachment that Rahu brings earlier on in this video, it's beneficial. That detachment is beneficial because it allows them to endure the pain, fear, suffering, and loss, and ultimately the incredible expansion that comes once they've purified the personality, once they've purified their mission. So this expansiveness, it's, again, we're going to talk about Kundalini here. So once this energy starts to rise up, this 1,000-petal lotus begins to open, and so their experiences and their mission become wholeheartedly spiritual in nature. So again, this ends up essentially blending universal truths, universal understanding, universal wisdom with individual expression. Again, this is impersonal for these folks. They're not into their own satisfaction. And again, it's kind of a bummer because so many of the other nakshatras, particularly on the other side of the zodiac over by Leo, are very much about that sort of expressiveness and individuality and sort of sensate joys and things like that. Over on this side, we're talking about uncomfortable and kind of austere and that sort of thing. And it doesn't mean these people are joyless, but the joy is a little bit hard to come by. However, once that mission is being expressed, there is a sense of satisfaction that they gained by accomplishing those goals, that mission, which they are so intensely driven toward. So I want to talk real quickly again about the symbol of a flower. Flowers are interesting because, again, if we look at this very impersonal kind of energy going on with this expression, the flower, it's funny because it blooms, right? So it blooms, and I love flowers, and I love looking at them. They bring me kind of, I don't know, they make me smile. And the thing is that a flower is this expression of beauty. It's this expression of, I guess, fragrance. So we have fragrance, we have beauty, and it's for others to enjoy. The flower doesn't enjoy itself. And that's another reason why a flower is pretty apropos for Shatabhishak, is it's not here to enjoy itself. It's here to be the flower, to express that energy. So the final thing I will say about this placement is that, ultimately in the end, in terms of like one's material existence, these folks are really, really, really kind of like turned on by a great deal of idealism, but it's this idealism that's here to bring about new ideas. It's here to bring about new motivations, new ideas, new ways of seeing what's already in place. So it's, this idea of Varuna kind of talks about this unlimited cosmic knowledge, which is really good for these folks. Again, this is this energy of unlimited cosmic knowledge. It's practical. So these folks may be very idealistic again, but it's practical. So otherwise, these are not space cases. These are not people with high ideals who are literally with their heads in the cloud. This is about application. And there's a lot of energy and a lot of vitality here. But the suffering is prominent. So with all that said, I want to go ahead and talk about, in the next clip, I'm going to show you how I made the connection between Shatabhishak, projection 9, which is called the Apostle. All this is found in Yogi Bhajan's book called The Mind. All right, so here we are. This is Yogi Bhajan's book called The Mind. In the back of this book, we have a chart. And this chart essentially shows the precipitation of the universal mind as perceived through the elements, ether, air, water, air, fire, water, earth. And what it is, it's an increasing density, increasing fixation on the material plane. So what we're going to do here is, again, Shatabhishak was sattvic at its primary base, so sattva or buddhi, and then we follow this line over to its secondary placement, the negative mind. So here we are at the preserver, which is Saturn. This is the energy of Saturn. And then finally we have sattvic or neutral, once again as its expression out into the world. So we have projection 9, the Apostle. And so what we do now is we flip through the book. We find projection 9, the Apostle, mental outer projection. There's a little something, something. And the exercise, which is done for, it says 31 minutes. I suggest 3 to 11 minutes to start. And the next clip, I will go ahead and show you how to do this exercise. Hello, everyone. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do projection 9, or the Apostle. So something about this exercise that, and again, I may be making a supposition here, but so the exercise, the mudra, and this is interesting to me. So it's a right over left hand position. The thumbs are kind of bent under, and you're going to line up the thumb tips so that they're touching each other. So it's right over left, thumbs bent under, and your thumbnails are touching. So and then you're going to hold it. I would ask you to try to find a placement where it feels correct. So for me, it feels correct right about here. Like this is where the energy feels most, most needed. Now, reason I say most needed? So what ends up happening is that because this nakshatra has a very, very, very strong negative mind component, and again, we're talking about inertia, we're talking about energy which slams you down, which kind of depresses you in a way. So because this energy is prominent here, it's not the most dominant energy here, again, because Sattvic is the dominant energy. However, this Tamasic is their sort of hump to get over. So any exercise that's going to have you holding your arms, particularly up in a position like this, is going to cause a lot of nervous system stimulation. And it's going to cause this energy to be pulled up. And again, the energy is being pulled up from your hara, your navel point area, up through the root, etc. So all this energy is being pulled up, which, like I said, then brings the energy to the heart. And once your energy is kind of in the heart, other than you kind of having a greater sense of connection and feeling, which there can be a deficiency with Shatabhishak in terms of feeling connected, this energy, when it comes up to the heart, like I said, it connects you to your navigation. And that's incredibly important for this. These folks are learning to attune to their authentic expression, how they can serve humanity. So again, that's all here. That's in the heart. That's the field of the heart, which is much more expansive than that of the brain. So the energy gets pulled down from above and pulled up from below and channeled at the heart. So again, the exercise, the mudra, right over left, thumbs bent, nails touching, held somewhere at the level of the heart dash kind of clavicle area. You want a nice tall upright spine. So I suggest then you plant your kind of pelvic floor. So talk about the area around the anus, perineum, and genitals. You want to push that downward. And once you feel like that you've lifted up, what you want to do then is you want to go ahead and tuck the chin down. And so you should have a fairly straight spine at that point. Now the eyes, you want to bring to the tip of the nose. Now I've explained this in other videos. How I like to do this is I look up and to the left. Well, first off, you want to exhale all the air out. So exhale all the air out, look up and to the left, and then inhale full deep breath. Then what I suggest you do, and this kind of sometimes helps clear the energy of the eyes, is to lift up your perineum or contract slightly the anus, and you may notice that it'll help clarify your vision a bit. And so while retaining the breath, you want to go ahead and roll your eyes up and to the right. Again, breath retained. Again, slight lift on the pelvic floor. Then you want to roll your eyes directly up, retaining the breath. And then finally, exhale all the air out and bring the eyes to the tip of the nose. So once your eyes are at the tip of the nose, hands are in position, you're 2/3 of the way there. So the mantra is 3 Wahegurus. So it's Waheguru, 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 and then 1 Wahegeo. That's Jeeo. Wahegeo. So it's Waheguru, 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 Wahegeo, Waheguru, 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 Wahegeo. And you just keep it up. You keep going and going. And again, you want to do this for 11 to 31 minutes or 3 to 31 minutes. Again, I suggest, starting off within your capacity and then cultivating this exercise over the course of 40 days. And you will notice major differences in terms of how your energy is flowing, particularly through the heart region. So something about that Waheguru, though, when you're doing this mantra, what you want to be doing is you want to be pulling in your navel point or your belt line area. So you're driving the air, you're driving the sound from the navel point up and out. So Wa is generally felt kind of around the sort of belly area. He is generally felt somewhere around the heart. Guru is felt generally around the lips. So it's Waheguru, Waheguru. You can even march or kind of like connect your awareness at these various levels. Sometimes people put their awareness at the backside of their body. So Wa is somewhere kind of like the mid-back, lower back. Mid-back is He, and Guru, back of the head. So you can kind of march your awareness up the spine or up the front side of the body. And let's see what else. So yeah, I think that's probably the most important thing is that, like, again, as you're doing this mantra, you're pulling in the belt line, you're feeling the diaphragm lift driving that air out. So once again, let me go ahead and show you how it all looks. Eyes on the tip of the nose. Thumbnails touching, right hand over left, held at the level of the heart. Clavicle area, nice tall spine. Driving the sound from the navel point area, lifting the diaphragm on exhale. So it's Waheguru, 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 Wahejio, Waheguru, 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 Wahejio. On and on and on and on. So, with all that said, I appreciate you watching this video, and thank you much.